Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday of game week. Hope your work week's off to a good start. We're fired up to be here. I hope you can tell that. We'll be here with you for the next 2 hours. Got Jacob Beck back in action and Paul O'Neill back in there on the ones and twos, and lots to do over the course of the next 2 hours. We're going to talk to Jeremy Burnham, doctor from Oxford, coming up in 45 minutes. Bryce Coon from On 3, the Bengal Tiger, going to be with us at 2 o'clock. We'll also have Denton Day at 2:30 in our normal Monday spot, resuming that because college football is underway. Had some action back on Saturday, and we will certainly get into the week to come with LSU and Clemson. Brian Kelly just finished up his Monday press conference, as is tradition on a game week, and I could not be more excited to be here and to get things cranked up. Beck, you sleeping okay back there? You ready to rock? You know where all the buttons are? It's been a minute.
I remember where they all are, yes.
Glad to hear that.
Didn't sleep a lot last night.
Okay. I slept great last night.
Oh, that's
Amazing
good.
night of sleep.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
I think I got like 9 hours.
Yeah, you've been here before, so you know.
I know well. Glad you're back. Glad everybody's with us. Glad to get going on a game week. Fired up to be here. Let's crank it up like we do every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, let's talk some LSU football here on this beautiful Monday in the capital city. We got to go inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday night, and I was pretty excited to go in there. If you heard me on Friday, you heard that. I was confused, but I was excited. I was like, why in the world are we being allowed to watch the team practice 7 days before game day? Why are we going inside Tiger Stadium to see a scrimmage when they're this close to action? Like, we've never had this situation before. And things became pretty clear pretty quickly inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday. We weren't watching a scrimmage. We were watching a walkthrough. And that's fine. I kind of had expectations of watching a scrimmage, which I thought was weird. It was a walkthrough because you're getting close to Clemson and you don't need to scrimmage. You've done your scrimmaging. The hay's in the barn on fall camp. LSU has emerged from fall camp relatively healthy, and what we saw on Saturday night was a walkthrough. They didn't tackle anybody. Garrett Nussmeier never threw a pass. You saw some scout team stuff. You saw some punt team. You saw one 5-minute period where all we watched for 5 minutes was whatever special teams unit it was, and there was no way for us to tell because they stood in a huddle 4 yards off the sideline. And they would yell out a name, and that guy would run off, and his sub would run on, just so they would know if you were in a special team spot and this guy can't go because his knee's dislocated or his helmet doesn't work, that who's next in. And we watched him do that for 5 minutes. So there wasn't a lot to glean from Saturday's workout. I thought the defense overperformed the offense. I thought the backup quarterbacks had a tough day. That's not new or news. It wasn't a big day for hot takes out there on Saturday night in Death Valley. At one point, we watched 18 periods. Around about period 12 to 13, as I'm still watching, I'm looking up and listening in the press box, and it was just, it sounded like a cocktail hour up there. Everybody's yapping, talking. Half the people aren't looking at the field. It was not a lot to be gleaned from Saturday's practice, and once again, that is okay. But one thing we did get from this weekend was that Garrett Nussmeier was given number 18. If you listen to the show, you follow us on social media, you know, about a month ago, I did a segment suggesting, hey, I think it's time that a quarterback wear this number. Hasn't happened since Matt Mullock wore it. I think it's time to do that. Garrett Nussmeier embodies that number in multiple ways. One, he waited his turn. That doesn't happen very often in college football these days. You're on the bench in spring number 2, see ya. He didn't do that. He waited it out. He waited for Jaden Daniels to win his Heisman Trophy. And then he went out and played. And then you look at this past offseason. He could have been a first-round draft choice in the NFL. I don't think that is unreasonable to suggest with that class of quarterbacks that Garrett Nussmeier could have been the in the first round, not the first pick, in the first round. Said, nope, I'm going to come back. So not only did he wait his turn, then he stayed. Neither of those things happens too often in this era of college football, but he did. And he's always been a really good leader. He's been a good leader from the bench. He's been a good leader when he's gotten his opportunity to start. And he was a great representative of LSU at SEC Media Days back in July. And again, I'm not going to make too big a deal out of it. I don't think that I'm going to sit here and go, oh, the leader, the quarterback's 18, best guy they got. You're not. I mean, the last time an 18 quarterback wore 18, they won the national championship with Matt Mullock. I'm not going there. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that you've got a leader on this football team that happens to be taking the snaps. And look, Joe Burrow didn't wear 18. He did all right. Jane Daniels didn't wear 18. He did all right. So, again, that point remains. But Garrett Nussmeier embodies what that means. And what I'm taking from this has a little bit less to do with specifically Garrett Nussmeier. I think it probably has more to do with me looking at this going, it's just a really good thing that your quarterback is thought of in that way by that room, by that coaching staff. I think that is a good thing. I think that's an inherent positive. And let me say this. I believe if LSU is going to accomplish its goals this year, and its goals have not been explicitly stated to us, but you understand what they are. The first goal is to go 1-0 and to beat Clemson, and then the goal is to make the playoffs here. There's obviously an SEC championship game that you'd like to play in and win. There's a national championship at the end of this line, which Brian Kelly mentioned today, this team wants to win a national championship. I want to win a national championship. That's great. The only way for this program to beat Clemson on Saturday, to win at least 10 games this year, to play for an SEC championship, to win an SEC championship, to make the playoff, to win a playoff game, to get to a national championship game, to win a national championship, the only way that works is if the new number 18 is a star. Now, let me say this. I believe LSU's defense is going to be great this year. Not good, great. And that's going to help. But in this day and age in college football, you can't do what Nick Saban was doing 15 years ago. You cannot have a defense that allows 8.1 points per game and runs it down people's throats and wins a bunch of games 24-7. That doesn't play in this era of college football. You are going to have to make big plays down the field, score points, win games that are played in the upper 20s and 30s. And while we'll go through the course of this week, and I will suggest to you that I don't believe that this game on Saturday is going to be played in the upper 30s, you're going to have some of those this year. And I think LSU is going to go into many a fourth quarter this year, 5 of them, 7 of them this year, where you got to make some plays to win a game that is in the balance. I do not believe LSU is going to whitewash the field like they did in 19 or 11, where they just beat the brakes off everybody. You're going to get into some dog fights over the course of the next 3 months. And if your quarterback can't stare down 100,000 people, stare down an elite SEC defense, stare down 4th and 6, stare down 3rd and 11, and make some plays, you have no chance. And the number 18 is not going to make him make those plays. But this is just another data point when we're discussing this LSU football team is what are they going to be? What are they? You've got a really good player back there at quarterback who has the complete respect of that entire team and organization. And now he's got a number on his chest to represent that. And I think it's a cool story. And we won't know how that story ends until middle of December or hopefully the middle of January next year. But this is a footnote that could become a headline over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 months. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was well earned. If they had gone with Whit Weeks, I would have thought it was great. He deserves it for sure. If they had gone with Jacoby and Guillory, I'd have said, great. Chris Hilton has a great story in Baton Rouge. But this made the most sense to me. So when I saw that on Sunday morning, I thought, I like it. I like that guy and that number. And it's wild to me that 21 players have worn that number since a quarterback last did it. And that doesn't dismiss the work that Damone Clark or Kaylavon Chason did. Doesn't dismiss the work that Lloyd Cushenberry did. There have been plenty of really good players. Tre'Davious White was a heck of a player to wear that number. But I like it on my quarterback. I think that's a good thing. I called for it back in June, and it's been delivered here at the end of August. And now Garrett Nussmeier will put on a new number as he gets ready to hit on that bus and head to Clemson, South Carolina. This is going to be an awesome week. That was a great start to it. I'm fired up to get into LSU football in 2025, and we will be knee-deep in it throughout the course of this week. Garrett Nussmeier, number 18. That's your Genesis opening drive here on this Monday. Lots and lots to do. The Saints were on the field on Saturday. I have some thoughts on that. The Saints have made a lot of cuts today. Some significant, some very much expected. We'll talk about all of that as we move forward on this Monday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. How about America's best warranty? How about your powertrain warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles? How about the bumper-to-bumper warranty, 60,000 miles, 5 years? That's industry leading. How about the enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, 5 years, unlimited miles? Complimentary scheduled maintenance. Not everybody going to give you that first 3 years of complimentary maintenance on your vehicle. How big a nuisance is it to bring your car in, deal with everything, feel like you're getting upsold half the time? That doesn't happen at Genesis Baton Rouge. They just take care of it. And if you want them to take care of it while you're still driving alone around and getting your day on, fine. They'll bring your car to you when it's done. It's part of the experience of being a Genesis driver. So go by and see them, Airline at PQ. Stop in the dealership. Tell them I sent you in. Say, hey, love to hear what y'all have to say and would actually like to get behind the wheel today. They will let you do that with one of their brand ambassadors. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, Saints are going through some roster cuts. First wave is out, certainly not done at this point, and certainly very little that is really surprising to this point. There are a couple of note. Cam Akers, the running back who they brought in as a vet to compete, has been released. There's just not enough room in the inn here for all these running backs. Kamara is the starter, clearly. Kendre Miller has established himself as the number 2 running back to this point. Kellen Moore kind of alluded to that today when he met with the media. But you still got a number of other players that are looking to find a roster spot. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a guy that's vested in the NFL, so would not have to clear waivers. They've got him still on the roster. Velus Jones, big speedster. They've got on the roster Devin Neal. They took a late round draft choice on, but really liked, but he missed a lot of camp due to injury. And you got Marcus Yarns, who I don't expect to be on the team, but Akers the only one to this point that we know of that's been released. That was of note because he's just a name. He was a big-time recruit, great college player, and has been in the league most of his productivity time with the Rams. Look at punter, where you're going to have to make a decision, and the Saints are going to have a 4th punter in the last 4 years. They waived James Burnham today. That means that Kai Kroger right now is the leader to be the punter. He's the only one on the roster. Doesn't mean they can't add one tomorrow. If they bring one into the fold, we'll see. But Kai Kroger looks like he'll be the punter to this point. I'm continuing to go through this cut list. Jasheen Davis on the defensive line is a guy who had some flash in camp earlier. He's been waived. Kyle Hergel and Josiah Aziram on the offensive line. 2 guys. Aziram was a late 7th-round pick last year, and Hergel, a guy that you thought potentially could help him on the interior. But those guys have moved on. Landon Young, unfortunately, carted off the field. Nothing with him from a roster perspective, but carted off the field in Saturday's game. You hated to see that. You look at tight end, Michael Jacobson and Seth Green have been waived. That brings Trayton Welch one step closer to potentially holding a roster spot with the team. He's had a really good season. Had a great catch in the second preseason game on a deep ball that Tyler Shuck threw. So we'll see if Welch can make the team right now while Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill are on the PUP list. That's kind of the newsworthy cuts. Certainly not all of them. There are plenty. And if you'd like to check that out as the day progresses, you can go to LouisianaSports.net and see our live tracker that is consistently updated with all the cuts that the Saints are going through today. Ross is staying up on that over at LouisianaSports.net. The biggest news today is the lack of news, and that revolves around the quarterback position. Kellen Moore met with the media today and said that the Saints have not made a decision. He said, quote, "It'll be soon, but they have not made a decision as of today with the starting quarterback." And I think the easy thing to do would be for me to get on here and go, they're just taking forever. What's the holdup? They've had an entire camp, 3 preseason games. Like, come on, make a call. You're just dragging your feet. And that would be an easy thing to do. I don't feel that way because, as I've said all along, like, I'm not in a rush. If the Saints want to look at a couple more practices, fine. Because I'm just not that concerned with who gets the most first-team reps at practice on Tuesday to make sure you're ready for the Week 1 opener a week from Sunday. Like, I'm not that concerned with it. My concern is evaluating things properly so that the right guy is getting reps. They're both getting some reps. They both played a significant amount in the preseason. Nobody's going to be grossly underprepared in the game against the Cardinals coming up next weekend. You look at what we saw on Saturday. Spencer Rattler started the game, 5 of 8, 43 yards, kind of piled things along, took a sack, nothing completely glaring, and then Shuck took over and got a little bit more run, 12 of 20, 102 yards. And here's what I would say about the Saints quarterbacks in the preseason. Like, I think a lot of us hoped that you would see somebody absolutely take that bull by the horns in preseason. I have a hard time going back to a lot of examples of like great preseasons because it's just that, and they're pretty rare, and you don't take a ton from them. A lot of times you're facing second and third team guys. But like Dak Prescott had a balling preseason. Do y'all remember that? Like he came in as a rookie, late round pick, and like he was playing in the preseason. And it was pretty evident, like, oh, this is going to be a guy that they're going to like lean on. This wasn't like some flyer pick. Like it may have been at the time, but it progressed to like, oh, like this is a starter. And you never saw that type of thing from neither Shook or Rattler. And that's disappointing to an extent. It's not damning. It's not a crisis. It's disappointing. And I think if we had that expectation back in July, we may have been ambitious. Like I'm pointing to myself there. I may have been ambitious with the thought that, oh, Rattler will come in and way outperform the rookie, or oh, here comes the second round pick. Here comes the guy that Kellen Moore and this administration decided this is our group. This is our guy. This is going to be the ticket. And it just didn't happen. A lot of checkdowns, couple mistakes, not a lot of big plays. I mean, the Saints didn't score a first half touchdown in the preseason. And that's when like most of your perceived roster pieces are out on the field. It took in the second preseason game until the fourth quarter to get a touchdown right at the end of the game. And the same thing happened again in this preseason game. So I don't think it's unfair to call it underwhelming. I think it would be unfair to call it, a disaster. But I don't think the Saints are playing the cards close to the vest. They're watching a lot of the same stuff that the media has watched in camp, that we've watched in preseason. Everyone's kind of assessing the same thing, and it's just kind of similar. Like both Shuck and Rattler are pretty good athletes. They both got pretty good arms. They've both made some pretty good throws. They've both made some head-scratching mistakes, and they're right there together. Like Jake Haener isn't really part of this deal, and he got to throw 9 passes on Saturday. But the guys you're really evaluating averaged 5 yards an attempt on Saturday. And the Broncos did play some of their first-team guys on defense early and then took those guys out, and you just didn't see a lot of oomph. I realize you're not playing a ton with the starters. Olave and Shaheed combined for 5 catches, and you're throwing to Jack Stoll and Marcus Yarns and Kevin Austin and Cedric Wilson and Dante Pettis, and like that's not really the offense. And you'd like to get Trevor Penning back in there, and you'd like to get a lot of Eric McCoy, and we'll see what Foster Moreau can bring. And there's still some more to be added, and these guys are going to continue to get reps. I think you'll probably have a starter named by the end of the week. Kellen Moore said back over the weekend, like, this is not going to be one of those college football things where you find out who the quarterback is when they break the huddle. College coaches love that. That's not going to happen in the NFL. They're going to name their guy, and they'll likely, in my opinion, this is a guess, but it's a reasonable guess, they'll get the guy who will be the starter every first-team rep starting next Tuesday, next Wednesday. That's generally speaking how this thing will go. But I think the Saints are just taking their time. Now, if you want my opinion on this, I'll give it now. My opinion is start Rattler. I don't think it's going to go great. That's my opinion as well. I think that the Saints will struggle to score points. I think the Saints would struggle to score points with Tyler Shuck in there. I think you go with the veteran. You continue to let Tyler Shuck see what a Sunday's like in the league, see what it's like when all the bullets are actually flying, and it's not this preseason game where the 9th-round draft pick. I realize there's only 7. That's the point of the hyperbole. Like, the late-round draft picks out there at safety who's about to get cut. Like, I want the Pro Bowlers out there. Show me the real pass rushers. See what this really looks like when there's a mistake made. You got to come off the field and adjust to it. See what those in-game adjustments look like. See the entire process played out a couple of weeks. And if you've played 3 or 4 weeks and at that point you don't see much, okay, go with Shuck. If Rattler's conducting the offense well, play him. But you don't have to be in a rush. You don't have to get off to a great start this year. It's not mandatory. This is not the Bengals who are trying to shake free from the 1-4s. This is a team who's in search of its future. And its future, no matter how badly we want it to come quickly, is not coming a week from Sunday. That's not going to be the future. Over the course of the year, you might see it. 4 quarters, week 1, no. So to me, I would go with Rattler. I would ease Shuck in a little bit later and continue to evaluate things as they come. It's more fun for us if they make the decision early and you see a bunch of highlight plays in preseason. It's not necessarily the most realistic thing, and it didn't happen. So you got to keep evaluating. I don't think that Kellen Moore is showing his inexperience. I don't think that he's showing the job's too big for him. I'm not wildly concerned about things. I just think that you've got 2 middling players right now who are playing middling football that are on level footing, and you're just going to have to make a decision here in the next few days. And I think they'll go with Rattler. I would go with Rattler. Would it stun me if it was Shuck? Stun's too stern a word. Mildly surprised? Sure. We'll see what they decide to do moving forward. The preseason is in the rearview mirror. Saints have 2 weeks to get ready for the first game. They'll have their roster and their practice squad here in the next few hours. And then you push off the dot and you go. So we'll see about the black and gold. If you're looking for Saints content, always invite you to head over to LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson does an awesome job covering the black and gold for us. He's got a lot of content up right now, including a cut tracker. And you can catch my stuff, Hunt on Saints, on YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts. When we come back, I'm excited about this segment. We talked to an LSU starter on Saturday. No, Friday. It's Friday afternoon. And I don't know if his answers or what I've seen on the practice field combined with his answers or what, but I have confidence that a breakout season is coming for this LSU player. We'll tell you who that is and let you hear from them next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders. We're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Value Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Value Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Value Automotive is going to do right by you.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item. We prominently feature it in social.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Talk to Dr. Jeremy Burnham coming up in 15 minutes. As I mentioned before, and I wrote this in my practice report, and I want to be very clear. Brian Kelly has dismissed any issue with Garrett Nussmeier. I don't know there to be any issue with Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's fine. I just thought it was weird, and I've never seen a quarterback not throw twice in a week at practice. Garrett was out there on Saturday doing all the work for the handoffs, running around, great spirits. Same thing he was doing last Monday, but no throws. And Brian Kelly said, yeah, he's on a pitch count. No big deal. But I just thought it was weird. And I wrote about it in the practice. I was like, I wish he was throwing a little bit. But Brian Kelly dismissed the whole thing. I just wanted Dr. Burnham's thoughts on keeping an arm fresh. And I realize that baseball and football are not the same deal. Pitchers need rest, and football throws a lot. In camp, you throw a ton. So just want his thoughts on that. We'll talk about it in about 15 minutes. But on Friday, we had player interviews. And, when you talk to the players, you kind of get a different perspective. And I'm thrilled that I can do that now with LouisianaSports.net. I hadn't really done player interviews from 2014 through 2023, which is 10 years of not doing player interviews. And I've gotten an opportunity to kind of get to, not to know some of these guys, that's a little strong when you're sitting there talking with 8 of the reporters with recorders in their faces, but just hear their perspective, get a sense on confidence, vibe, that kind of thing. And one of the guys I've really enjoyed from the spring into the fall talking to is Jack Pyburn. And he's just oozing confidence and determination. And you'll hear that in the bites that we play for you here. But I don't know if it's just that confidence that you get from listening to him talk that makes me think he's going to have a monster year. I don't know if it's the coupled with his practice or his demeanor out on the field. I'm not sure. I just sense Pyburn is about to explode. I think he's going to have an awesome year. And so here's some of the sound we got from him back on Friday evening. And the first kind of talked about why he left Florida, and it had to do with kind of the role that he played there.
It takes a lot of work, man. And it's also just the mind. There's nothing more powerful than the mind. And when you're kind of in a mindset that you're defined as something, it's kind of hard to break out of that. And that's a big reason why I felt like I needed to get away from the situation that I was in, because mentally I felt like I was stuck, that I was a run defender and I was this and that and I wasn't that athletic. And it's not the truth. The truth is what I make it. And that's really something that I've honed in on, and every single goal that I've set for myself, I have met every single one of them. And I'm just looking forward to continuing to meet every single goal on the field this year.
He talked about his role in Florida's defense and that he was dropping about a third of the time, and that sometimes he's coming off the field on third downs, and like he was just kind of being keyholed as a run defender. And he's very good at defending the run. He had 60 tackles last year. For perspective, that's like 20 more than Savion Jones had last year. Savion Jones was a starter for LSU and went in the third round of the draft. Pyburn had 30% more tackles than Savion Jones did. And I think he just got frustrated with that and wanted to show he could do more. So he's come to LSU with a huge chip on his shoulder as to what he's going to become in this defense. And Blake Baker's defense is part of the reason that Pyburn wanted to come. And Jack talked about the style that Blake Baker wants this team to play with.
Aggressive. Yeah, I think that's the best thing and the most fun part about playing defensive end under his scheme is we're mostly a 4-down team. We have some 3-down, throw it in, but it is about being attack and being upfield, creating havoc, TFLs, and that's honestly another big part of why I wanted to come to LSU. My previous school, we played a lot of 3-down defense. I was a lot of times boundary end, dropped like 33% of the time ish, around there, and it's just not exactly what I wanted to do for my skill set. I think I can do everything, but I feel like I was best utilized to be coming hard off the edge and playing aggressive, playing fast, using my physicality, my speed, and letting it be my advantage.
Let me tell you, this dude is strong as an ox. I mean, he is strong. You can see him at practice. He's tough to block. He has no problem absolutely getting right into the face mask of a 320-pound offensive lineman. He's a wild man on the field. And you see that at practice, and you will see that on the field. But he's also, like we just talked about and have harped on, like he feels like there's more for him to show. And he kind of spoke about the versatility in his game.
Yeah, we have different packages for, second and long packages, third and medium packages. They move me around 3-tech, 2-eye, to get those one-on-ones on guards, because fast, physical, strong. I can catch a double team if I need to. I just feel like all the different positions I've played over my college career have just kind of prepared me for this moment and to be such a versatile player and to be ready to be thrown in any situation and be able to be successful and thrive.
You'll see Pyburn all over the place. We've talked about this a lot, but Pyburn is a defensive end. And he will play defensive end a lot. I think he'll start there on Saturday. But there are packages that LSU will run that move him inside, as he mentioned there. And he'll get in there with Bernard Gooden, and they will be interior pass rushers that can really cause some bigger guards problems with their quickness. And they're both physical, but they're quick. And we've seen Pyburn kind of playing everywhere. Now, back in the spring, I remember us talking to Pyburn, and one of the things he was really, really honing in on was the pass rush aspect of this. And y'all know that Kevin Peoples took Braden Swinson from a guy that had totaled 5 sacks in 4 years in college and got him to 8.5 his final year. Savion Jones had not been a behind-the-line impactful player at LSU. He was last year in terms of TFLs and sacks, and he got picked in the 3rd round. And Pyburn has been working tirelessly on his pass rush ability. And that goes back to January. We're now 8 months later, and he feels like he's a different player, and he talked about that.
My pass rush is completely different than it's ever been. I think a big part of that is just how much more athletic I am now than I've ever been. I'm way faster, I'm stronger and twitchier than I've ever been. I've built the lower body strength that I've needed, squatting damn near 600 pounds and running close to 21 miles an hour, which is over a mile an hour faster than I was in my previous school. All those things help. And then when you get a coach that really can hone in on your exact skill set, not just a basic idea of it, exactly what I need to be a successful pass rusher and, the angles that I need to take, the tracks that I need to take, it's been amazing the progress that I've made. I'm just thankful for it.
They have a pass rush specialty for each player built into stride length, speed, first 5-yard speed. All these things create the fastest track to a quarterback in a 3-step, a 5-step dropper out of the shotgun. Like they have literally mapped this out in terms of the geometry and then worked on that. Like this is all part of Jack Marucci's deal. This is all part of Kevin Peoples' deal. And Jack Pyburn has taken this very much to heart. And I think you're going to see a guy who had 1 sack total in his time at Florida. 1. You're going to see him 5, 6, 7 sacks this year. I'm just telling you. It is coming. I am buying all the Jack Pyburn stock that you have. And again, we talked about his mindset. He's a wild man. And he mentioned like kind of flipping into season mindset as opposed to off-season training and improving mindset.
I think it just helps when you've been there and done that. This is my 4th year in college football. I know what to expect. I know what I'm looking forward to. And honestly, I've just put in so much work over the past 8 months now that I'm just been prepared for this moment. So, everything I feel like I take every single day to heart, and, every single day matters, every play matters, every opportunity matters. So that's the way I've taken it. It's kind of made everything go faster, but in a good way.
Can y'all just hear that in his voice? Like, he speaks so matter-of-factly. He speaks so confidently. He speaks in detail. You heard him earlier in the cut saying he dropped 33% of the time. You heard him talk about the track to pass rush. You heard him talking about squatting 600 pounds, running 21 miles an hour, 1 mile an hour faster than he was. There's such an attention to detail. There's such a passion. There's such a motivation. There is such a confidence in Jack Pyburn that is infectious when you're sitting there talking to him. As he's talking, I'm sitting there going, this guy's just going to dominate. And I fully understand that part of that is just recency bias and that experience like that I'm having where you hear him say that and you just tend to believe it. It's just more powerful than watching highlights and seeing what kind of a player he is. You hear what goes on to get to that point. And it's interesting to hear to me. Now, the other piece to this puzzle for Pyburn is that LSU brought in 2 other Power 4 transfer ends. They brought in Jamari Butler, and they brought in Patrick Payton. And Gabe Relaford's coming back. There's a lot of depth here. I'm not mentioning Dylan Carpenter in that depth to this point. You can put Kalaj Cobbins down there as well. Like, they've got significant depth on the edge on defense. And you can look at that one or two ways. Like, it's competition, guys you've got to beat out, or depth to keep you fresh. And ultimately, it's both. But it's something that you're going to see from this LSU team. They're going to continue to cycle guys in and out. And Pyburn spoke to the depth that they've got on the line.
Part of the reason that, we're going to have a special room is the depth that we have. We're going to have guys that have played a lot of ball and are going to be ready to play a lot of ball. And that's why it's good. We've worked, both boundary and field end, different combos, missing and matching, because there's going to be times in games where some guys are going to be on, some guys aren't. So it's been good, but I feel really good about our room, the best I've ever felt.
Best he's ever felt. I believe that. Best I've felt about LSU's defensive line group in 6 years. Now, here's an answer that he gave about one of the guys in that group, and it's Gabe Relaford. And I'm just going to throw a guess out there, just a wild guess. My guy, Corey Diaz from USA Today Network, from Daily Advertiser, probably, just guessing, going to write a feature on Gabe Relaford because my guy's been asking everybody about Gabe Relaford, as a good reporter would do. And he asked Jack Pyburn about Gabe Relaford, and he got a pretty passionate answer.
Yeah, that guy is a freak. That dude is athletic. He is strong, physical, and violent, and he's going to be a really good player for us this year. I'm really excited to play alongside him and be able to watch him, and it's going to be fun.
Pyburn would elaborate on his get-off, his ability to get up the field, the quickness that he's got, and that's all evident that we've seen from Relaford in his high school highlight tape and then the time that he saw on the field last year. Had a big play against Oklahoma in the game last year. It's a good unit. And if y'all remember, I ranked the position groups. I put defensive end 1 ahead of wide receiver, where they got like 8 guys that can play, ahead of quarterback, where they've got preseason All-American. I think they're going to be excellent on the edge, and Pyburn is a huge part of that. Maybe I'm buying into something just because he's selling it to me when I'm recording, but I bought it, and we'll see coming up on Saturday night. You're facing 2 veteran Clemson tackles that have played a lot of football. I'll talk about that in the second hour, but I think Pyburn's going to have a monster year. So that's Jack Pyburn, Florida transfer on the edge. So all that sound, I've got a feature up from Saturday or Sunday, one of the 2 days over this weekend. They all kind of run together over at LouisianaSports.net. You can read that if you'd like for free at LouisianaSports.net. All right, our auction segment with Dr. Jeremy Burnham. Let's talk a little Garrett Nussmeier and why he's not throwing footballs at practice when we're there. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If this sounds familiar, you may need to make a phone call to David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets. Like, he's working right now on a lot of homes that were built right around 2000. If your home, whether you built it or you moved in just a few years ago, was built in 2000, 2002, 2004, and you feel like the bathroom has been in that state for 25 years, that's about the time when you need to probably look into making some changes. Things start to falter, rust, malfunction. That stuff can happen over the course of time. And if that's the case for you, don't just call the handy guy down the street to come in, pay him some cash, and he's out of there in 3 hours. Let David Vaughn and his team come in and make it right. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Whether it's a full installation of a new bathtub, new shower, they can do that. Whether they're just pulling out some of that framing and replacing it with new, they can do that as well. They've got a master plumber on site. If it's in the bathroom, they can handle it at One Bath and Closets. Check them out online, onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation today. Let David come in and look. He can probably tell you what needs to be done in that bathroom, and he's happy to do it. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here. It's not just LSU that is cranking up action in the 2025 football season this weekend. A lot of high school teams with their jamborees coming up this weekend. So an exciting time down here in South Louisiana. Time for Sports Health, presented by Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Always a pleasure to be joined by Dr. Jeremy Burnham, the Medical Director of Sports Medicine and Section Head of Orthopedic Surgery over there at Ochsner. Joins us now on Jim's Firearms Hotline. Dr. Burnham, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's certainly our pleasure. This is a question I think that is probably based in very little, but I'm just curious your thoughts and if y'all see some of this. Garrett Nussmeier has not thrown a football in the last two practices we've seen back last Monday and on Saturday. Brian Kelly said, no issue. We just have a pitch count for our quarterbacks. He's a starting quarterback. We just don't think that the extra throws are necessary. I realize that we talk about arm care and arm safety a ton in baseball. Pitchers need rest, kids being overused, that type of thing. In football, do y'all see that where quarterbacks need some rest?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something to think about. And I think any athlete that is doing the same motion over and over again, they are at risk for an overuse injury. And so it's a little bit different with quarterbacks than pitchers. Pitchers tend to throw through the same arm slot or very similar arm slot over and over. When you're throwing football, that arm slot varies a little bit more. And so that's why we don't see exactly the same in terms of pitch count. But absolutely, it makes sense to limit your athletes that are doing the same thing, whether you're a kicker or whatever it is. You need to get the reps in practice, but you also need to give that body time to recover and, really want to peak at the right time and be at your optimal performance at game time.
I know everybody's kind of excited for football here, and it's cranking up now. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can go. Injuries happen during football, whether it's youth football, high school football, and I know y'all are always available over there at Oxnard, especially over there at Elite as well with weekend hours. So if you could kind of let the folks know where they can go. Maybe something doesn't happen on the field, but the next day you wake up and go, that may not be right.
Yeah, that's right, Hunt. So we try to make it as easy as possible. We have a philosophy that we try to meet our patients where they are. We have a walk-in clinic over here just on the edge of campus on Burbank that's at our new Oshner Andrews Elite Sports Medicine Complex. And we have a walk-in clinic there 7 days a week. And so you don't have to have an appointment. You can actually just come in. You can also call ahead and let people know that you're coming. Our main focus over here is injury prevention. And so we put a lot of our time into trying to keep people from getting injured at all. We work with our partnered high schools and patients of ours and just general community members to do that. But certainly if something does happen or there's a question, we do have this walk-in clinic that's available 7 days a week.
You mentioned that, and you mentioned high school football a little bit earlier. The Red Stick Rumble's coming up. That's a pretty good group of teams that y'all have got playing on Thursday and Friday. I know y'all are excited about it.
Yeah, look, we're really excited about it. We've got some great games. So on Thursday, we've got Burnham playing U High at 6 p.m., and then Parkview playing Bruley High School at 7:30 p.m. So a good doubleheader there. And then on Friday, Catholic High and Madison Prep playing. And, this really signals the start to what is always a great high school football season. We're excited about that. Parkview's got a great facility over there with good turf and good stadium. And it's always a good jamboree. So.
Well, you were a letter winner in football for LSU. Tigers going to Clemson coming up on Saturday. How are we feeling about Saturday? How are we feeling about the team this year?
Look, I'm feeling great about it. I think we're going to have an elite team this year. I'm really excited about it. I think we're just building on the success we've had last year. Had some additions, and it sounds like the players that have been there have also improved and built upon what they did in the past. So this is going to be, I think, a great LSU football season, and it starts this weekend.
Can I ask you a big picture question on training camp as it relates to the NFL and of course college? Like, we watched Brian Kelly's camp this year. A lot of time indoors, a lot of days off, no 2 days, which you can't do anymore, a lot of days with no practicing. Do you feel like that's a big help when it comes to the health of teams? Because LSU Brian Kelly said they expect everybody ready to go on Saturday. That's pretty rare, and was certainly rare during the Les Miles days. What's your thought as a doctor about teams getting ready for a season that way?
Yeah, I think we've learned a lot in terms of injury prevention and just optimal health. Obviously, we come from an era where you would do 2 days all the time. You didn't have water breaks, and it seemed like it made a lot of sense back then. And maybe from a mental toughness standpoint, there was something to that. But certainly, you ended up with a lot more injuries. These seasons are stretching out longer and longer as well. So you're trying to keep people healthier for longer, and I think that's very important. So we've learned a lot about heat. We've learned a lot about repetitions. We have an indoor facility over here at our elite training complex. A lot of the high school teams have started utilizing that just so that they can get out of the heat, but still get some consistent reps. And so as we learn more about human performance, human longevity, I think we'll see a shift more to being a little bit more smart with how we practice and how we prepare.
Dr. Burnham, we appreciate some time. Enjoy the football Thursday and Friday at the Red Stick Rumble. Tigers on Saturday, and we'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Hunt. Talk to you soon.
He's Dr. Jeremy Burnham with Oxnard. Look, heat-related injuries, still a big thing If you sense any of the symptoms commonly related to heat exhaustion, whether it's lack of sweating, whether it's weakness, fatigue, all those type of things, immediately stop physical activity. Make sure to stay hydrated as well. The folks at Ochsner want you to know about that. Still very, very hot, even though a bunch of the country's getting a cool front that's coming through. I looked at the extended forecast. I don't see a cool front for us. All the highs look to be in the low 90s as far as I can see. So if you're out there exercising, if you're playing football, whatever, make sure to try to stay hydrated as best as possible. The folks at Ochsner want you to know that. All right, that's it for hour number one. Fast-moving hour number one here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Talk some LSU football from Saturday. Talk Saints cut day as well. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints, up and running wherever you find your podcast. If you just want those quick segments, 10, 12, 15 minutes, Saints, Hunt on Saints, LSU, Hunt on LSU. Talk some Jack Pyburn as well in the second hour. We're going to talk to Bryce Coon and Denton Day. Also, go into some numbers about Clemson. It's time to start prepping for that opener. We'll do that after our national headlines. Bryce Coon from On 3 coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, got to tell you about the Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is that website. Captive's just a big, big deal. Not every broker is capable of handling a captive or understands how to handle a captive. They can at the Highland Insurance Group. They're an independent broker. They've got contracts. They've got captive access. And if you're a sizable company here in the state of Louisiana that's looking for a creative solution to your risk management that directly affects your bottom line, this may be something for you to look at. If your broker hasn't shown it to you, might need to call the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carver and his team at the Highland Insurance Group deal with captives every single day. Whether it's a captive that is all your industry or one that handles different industries, it may be a fit for you. If you're looking for a creative solution to risk management and want to take a different approach, the Highland Insurance Group can help you out with it. Check them out online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group right here in Baton Rouge. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
The hold-in is over. I'm Chris Smith. Ahead of their regular season opener against the Giants, the Commanders and wide receiver Terry McLaurin reached an agreement on a 3-year contract extension worth up to $96 million, including a $30 million signing bonus, his agents told ESPN's Adam Schefter. McLaurin is coming off his second Pro Bowl appearance and has surpassed 1,000 yards for 5 consecutive seasons. And ahead of Tuesday's roster cut deadline, the Saints released running back Cam Akers, who signed with New Orleans in June. Meanwhile, rookie QB Shedeur Sanders said he's confident he will make the Browns' 53-man roster, but ESPN's Mike Tenenbaum says keeping 4 quarterbacks is not common.
It's very unusual, and ironically, they did do that last year, but last year, 13 teams had 3, 18 teams had 2. Typically, you're seeing a lot of teams put 1 on the practice squad at this point, So, look, it's not impossible to handle your roster that way, but when you're rebuilding, and certainly, the Browns are, you're going to lose a player otherwise you'd be keeping. So I still see Kenny Pickett getting traded. To me, that just makes too much sense.
Heard on ESPN Radio's Game Day. Sanders in a crowded quarterback room with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Game week, LSU and Clemson. We are getting razor close. Saturday night, 6:30 Central Time over there from South Carolina. Got a lot to do over the course of the next 4 days. Let's crank things up in the second hour with our guy Bryce Coon from the Bengal Tiger on 3. Bryce, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. I love how you let it in there, man. We finally get to talk about some real games and no more fall camp conversation or preseason portal realignment. None of that crap. We can talk actual football.
I can't complain too much when the baseball team gets us all the way through June. Like, that's a nice gift. But July can be a bit of a slog, and then early August. Actually, early August is good because they just start. Middle August can be a slog. We're through that now. It's time to roll. So let's talk about this LSU defense a little bit. I'm super high on the defense. I've listened to you and Matthew Bruni on the Bengal Tiger podcast. It kind of sounds like y'all echo that. Why do you feel good about this defense?
Yeah, man, and I think it really just kind of starts with, and Kelly kind of hit on this today, just the amount of snaps that you brought in through the portal, the veteran talent. I mean, it's just hard to imagine those guys just, every single one of them not panning out, right? I mean, it doesn't feel like a likely scenario. I mean, the guys that you brought in, at the very least, are going to be high floor players. And if we're just being real, I don't know, across the entire 11 on defense over the past couple of years, how many guys you could say, hey, consistently, I know what I'm going to get out of this guy. And it's not a knock, it's just the personnel difference, and so I just think that is a major key. And then, man, if you've been listening to those podcasts, you know how I feel about the safety play. Between A.J. Halsey and Marcus Cooley, I think that might be the 2 positions where you have upgraded just the most. I mean, just in terms of snap count, the floor, but also the ceiling. You've been out there at several of the scrimmages and camps, and, man, their willingness and ability to come down into that run alley and make plays and then also make them, it's miles ahead of where that safety room has been the past couple of years. And then to kind of add on the back end, Mansour Delane, just a guy that I think is going to be a Swiss Army knife. He's going to be a high-level player for you. Wanted to come to LSU to boost his draft stock. So I just think that they've elevated across the board. that the floor of this defense, there's a reason for fans to get excited. I don't know what the ceiling is. I think it could be really, really good, but you just elevated the floor so much, it's hard not to have confidence.
Well, let's go to the offense now. You've seen a lot of them, and they've been working against that defense. We're going to talk wins and losses because you've got a piece up at the Bengal Tiger right now that talks about it. But, like, what do you feel like is about this offense? Where's your confidence level there overall?
Yeah, I'll start with, the skill positions. I mean, LSU is going to have the skill talent to match just about anybody in the country. Wide receiver-wise, I love what they have there. I'm really interested to see the utilization of Bauer Sharp and Trades Green at the tight end spot. I mean, that's a lot of matchup nightmares that we could, see Joe Sloan utilize. But it all comes down to offensive line. That's what Brian Kelly talked about today. And, my coworker Matthew Burnham just put up a piece on, kind of his quotes about playing more than 5 guys, 6, 7, 8 guys on that offensive line, even this weekend. And trying to find that match in a primetime game is not really where you want to be. But I think that there is a reason for excitement with this offense. I go back to the year Jaden Daniels took the lead. What did Joe Sloan, Brian Kelly, and even Mike Denbrock at that time say? Decisiveness. Pre-snap decisiveness. Knew where he could go, read the defense. And, man, Nussmeier has looked really good in fall camp. And I think if that little thing has changed for him, it unlocks all of the God-given talent he has. That's never been the issue, right? The arm talent, all that kind of stuff. But the mental side for him, if that switched, it takes his offense into a different stratosphere. So if the offensive line can figure it out, I feel great about what this offense can go. And obviously that helps a run game that I think has one of probably the more underrated backs in the country. When you start to kind of look at, Caden Durham being left off some list, and, I'm seeing a lot of social media accounts, not have Durham in maybe their ranking of running backs in the country. I think the kid's extremely talented. I think Harlem Berry's going to be a force, and, Caleb Jackson could be utilized situationally. But there's just too many weapons, Hunt, for them not to be middle of the pack to the top half of the SEC. If some things click, especially on offensive line and mentally for Garrett Nussmeier, you're looking where I think you could have a top 3 unit in the conference.
In August, everybody's going to work on screens and draws and the quick game. Like, that's not new to anybody. Everybody's got to work on it. Do you believe that LSU has spent more time on things in case the offensive line struggles than they usually would?
I do. I think that there is a awareness of who they are. And Joe Sloan hinted at that in his press conference. And, I mean, you don't have to be in the media to know. If you watch the LSU press conferences, you listen to Joe Sloan. He says a lot in a little amount of time in terms of packing what he wants to talk about. And one thing he talked about was understanding the personnel grouping. And I think that's something that maybe last year, I could be totally wrong, and tell me this, I felt like they tried to put the, square peg into the round hole verbally in terms of what they wanted to do offensively. And it saw at times where fans and media, we were sitting in the press box just banging our head against the wall, watching them do things that weren't working. And you can't abandon things. I understand that. But I think this year there's an understanding of, hey, if that run game doesn't get started quickly this Saturday, let's utilize Aaron Anderson. Let's utilize Xavier Thomas and all the different formations and places we can put him. Let's get creative, because you don't have time to ram your head on 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, and not get yardage. I mean, it cannot happen on the road against Clemson, against that defensive front. So you've got to give some different looks to open things up. And that's the last part of it. I mean, last year, you go back and watch that Texas A&M game, was the biggest one for me, in Florida to an extent. Teams started loading the box, in that sense. And they knew what LSU couldn't do, and they knew what they were trying to do. And if you can mix in some looks, and I think they have been doing that, it gives you some flexibility, maybe a little bit more room for error in that run game, where it doesn't have to be perfect from, the start of the game.
All right, so you went through a piece predicting a record. I'm curious, did you go through game by game and see what the record was, or did you have a record in mind and then play to it?
I went game by game. I'll be honest with you. I got to about the last 3 weeks, and I was like, okay, I think this is where I'm settling. So, no, this was a strictly game by game. I did not want to go in with a record in mind.
So, a loss in the opener against Clemson, not exactly a hot take, but you feel like that's just a little too tough an environment for LSU at this point?
Right now, I just think that Clemson brings in an experienced group that has played together, and I feel more comfortable. If I was just from putting my money where my mouth is, I would put the money on Clemson in that aspect. I will say this. I don't think the team that plays Clemson on Saturday is going to be the same team that plays them later in the year. But that continuity aspect, I kind of like that a little bit in a slight favorite there this weekend.
And then you have, obviously, another loss coming up against, was Alabama the next one? Yeah, Alabama 34-31. These are the Clemson score that you had put down was 31-27, and then the one in Tuscaloosa you've got as a high-scoring game as well. Even though I think that we feel really good about the defense, and I think Clemson and Alabama both have good defense, you still feel like track meets are kind of inevitable?
I think it's going to happen because and especially at that juncture of the season, look, what your second week in November, you know who you are. I think that the offensive talent on both sides of the football, or both teams in that Alabama-LSU game, will shine at that point. Defense can make big momentum plays, but I think both offenses, especially LSU, is going to be too hard to keep down. And look, I get the concern about Ty Simpson. I understand that. I've said multiple times, and I think I put that in this piece and in our podcast. I think Alabama's got the talent around him. If he can be a point guard, that's fine. He does not have to be, the number one pick in the draft. If he can just delegate, if he can make the right decision, they've got skill talent around him to be able to put up some points. So, yeah, I mean, as much as we've talked about the defense, it's one of those for me that it's like I just think there's too much offensive talent, too much variety of it to hold it down for too long.
And then Ole Miss, Week 5, you got LSU winning in Oxford, 35-30, another kind of high-scoring game. That would not be the first time those two teams went back and forth on the field.
Yeah, my first year on the beat was 2023, and, man, that game, I know it's just imprinted on LSU fans in their minds. It was not fun to watch, but just watching that track meet, I don't think it'll be that. But I do think there's an aspect in, look, you could really dive into those scores more. I think Ole Miss scores late to keep that closer than it looks on paper. I don't doubt Lane Kiffin. I know there's a ton of upheaval happening in Oxford, but to me, Kiffin's getting to the point at a place, and I've heard you guys talk about this, where they don't win like they're winning right now. That's not something that happens at Ole Miss. So he's doing a good job. You got to give him credit. That's not something that happens in their history. So I'm starting to get him the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be at least respectable offensively. And look, it's a tough road environment, still kind of early in the season there to round out the month of September. I think LSU's offense is going to be fine in that game, but I think Lane Kiffin's good job of scheming stuff up is going to be able to find some things that work against this LSU defense.
So that win in Oxford, a win against South Carolina at home, win against Florida, a win on the road against Vanderbilt. It comes to 9-2 on the road at Oklahoma, and you've got the Sooners winning by 4 there to knock LSU down to 10-3 as opposed to 10-2. That would be a heck of a theater there in Norman, but ultimately a disappointment. Why'd you settle on that?
Man, I know that there's really a divide on how people feel about this Oklahoma team, right? There's people like me, and I don't know your take on it, but they really kind of feel like Oklahoma might have something in terms of marrying their OC, who was with John Mateer the previous stop, to having him now. I think that is a key component when you're breaking in a transfer quarterback or a guy that hasn't played in your system. Well, you have that. The quarterback understands the reads. He understands the checks, the call-outs. That is something that when you talk about breaking into quarterbacks across the SEC, that is what I think gives Mateer a little bit of a difference or a difference of a change from guys like Jackson Arnold at Auburn and all these other guys that are entering the system for the first time. And I'm really high on the running back they've got, Jade Knott. I think he was one of the better running backs in the country the past couple of years. Really good in the ACC last year with Cal, and which just sounds crazy to even say that we're talking about Cal in the ACC. But no, he's talented, and Shea Dixon and I were kind of talking about this on our pod last night about it can't go worse for Oklahoma, right? Like, I guess it always could. I guess I'll put that out into the stratosphere, but it can't go worse in terms of how hurt they were in the discombobulation at quarterback that they had. I mean, you would have to think that it's going to be a little bit better. And so do I think Oklahoma's playing for a playoff spot in that? Could this game be a play-in for a playoff spot? Maybe, but it also could be a scenario where Oklahoma's playing to keep Brent Venables' job. And look, going on the road, if you notice, all 3 of my losses are on the road. I feel comfortable saying LSU can win at home. When you go on the road, man, that's where I want to see the growth and the maturity of this team. Do I think they could win all 3 games that I put down as losses? I do. I want to put that out there. I do. I'm just really, and I think a large portion of the fan base is in this spot, Hunt. I need to see it to believe it. It could start this week, and we know, viewpoints change throughout the season, but that last game in Norman could have some implications where, Oklahoma could be that wounded animal in the corner, and that's not a team you want to play in their own house.
If you want to read about how LSU sucks, you can go to the Bengal Tiger and read Bryce's prediction. I'm kidding. Bryce, great addition to the team over there at the Bengal Tiger. Shay Dixon, Matthew Bruni, Bryce Coon, Bengal Tiger podcast as well, wherever you find your podcast. We appreciate some time, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
He is Bryce Coon from the Bengal Tiger, part of the team over at On 3. They do awesome work. I appreciate him for giving us a little bit of time. We'll do it again with Bryce very, very soon. I want to go through some numbers. I dove in pretty heavily last night into this morning about some numbers on Clemson. We have a lot of Clemson to talk about, but I want to just bring up some statistics that are objective, that just are what they are. Bring them to light and intro into our Clemson discussion. We'll do a lot more as the week continues. So we'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fired up. Tell you about a brand new sponsor here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. Golf simulators, kind of the new rage, right? This place does it right. It is first class when you walk in there. They're on Segan near Perkins in the shopping center. You'll see it. Can't miss it. You walk in, got the fridge full of beer and wine first. Then you walk in, they've got 3 golf simulators. If you want to practice your game, you can do it right there on the golf simulator. It's got all your metrics, whether it's your launch angle, your carry, your distance. You can see the ball in the simulator, slice it, draw it, hit it right down the middle. You also have a great video of your club face at impact. I found that really, really helpful when I stopped by. If you want to work on your game, you can do it there. Also, if you just want to play, you can do that at tons and tons of courses around the country. You want to play TPC Louisiana? Right there, you can do it. You want to play where they just played the Tour Championship at Eastlake? You can do it. They play a pretty big tournament in April. You want to play that course? You can do that too. Or you can socialize there. They got couches, chairs. You can rent the space, watch football there. It's an awesome spot for indoor golf. Practicing, playing, socializing, whatever the case may be. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Check out the website, swingeasygcbr.com. But if I was telling you really what to do, go see it on Segan near Perkins. It's awesome. I was there last week. My kind of spot. TV, cold drinks, golf. It's all there at Swing Easy Golf Club. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders. We're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item. We promise.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Talk to our guy Denton Day, Sirius XM Radio over there based in D.C. about the national college football landscape this week. We'll talk about Ohio State and Texas. We'll talk Alabama, Florida State. I believe Notre Dame and Miami this weekend as well. And certainly Clemson and LSU with Denton coming up in about 15 minutes. But I want to get into some numbers with Clemson. I'm not really giving a ton of opinion here. I just dug up some numbers that I think are relevant. We got plenty of time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get into a lot of opinion. We'll have a couple guests from Clemson as well to get this picture painted from both sides rather evenly. But just some numbers here, and a couple of these that I'm about to bring up really don't have a lot of bearing at all in the game on Saturday, but I just think they're interesting. Like Clemson's second in the country in wins since 2011. They've got 161 wins. Only Alabama has won more games since 2011. Since 2015, so the college football playoff era, Clemson's third in the country in winning percentage against the top 25. They're 31-12 against the top 25. That's a 72% win clip. Only Alabama and Ohio State have been better than Clemson. Here's a number here. Since 2014, Clemson is 70-5 at home. They won 40 home games in a row from 16 to 22. In the college football playoff era, they've won the ACC 8 times, and they've lost at home 5. Now, I will say, they lost twice at home last year. Louisville got after them at Clemson last year, and South Carolina with Lenora Sellers beat them as well. So, 70-5 if you go back to 2014, 2 losses if you go to last year. Then this number, which is on the negative side, and I think interesting. Clemson has been outscored 62-10 in the last 2 season openers. Georgia beat them 34-3 last year, and the year before, Duke beat them 28-7. So that's 52 points they've been outscored by in the last 2 openers. Hopefully that continues. I would love to beat Clemson by 30 points. I feel like it might be unlikely, but it hadn't been good for Clemson in openers. That's going to be the narrative around LSU, but it applies to Clemson as well. Let's talk about the offense for Clemson. Cade Klubnik last year, 3rd in the country in passing touchdowns. He threw 36 touchdowns last year. I thought it was noteworthy that of the 12 FBS quarterbacks that last year threw for 3,500 yards, Nussmeier was one of them, there were 12 quarterbacks that threw for 3,500 yards. Klubnik's 6 interceptions were tied for the fewest. So good job of throwing for a lot of yards. Was in a group of 12. Great job of taking care of the ball as well, Cade Klubnik. 6 interceptions. His wide receivers are very talented. Antonio Williams last year led the ACC in touchdown catches with 11. Bryant Wesco was a freshman on last year's team. He had 708 receiving yards. That led ACC freshman last year. So Antonio Williams coming off a monster year last year. Bryant Wesco Jr. had a great freshman year as well. As the offensive line, very experienced. They've got Blake Miller and Tristan Lee. You probably remember him from the recruiting ranks. He was a 5-star that LSU was very much in on. Those two guys are their tackles. Miller started 41 games, and Lee has started 23. And then you go to Walker Parks, who's a guard for him, 42 starts for him. Their entire offensive line, the projected 5 starters, 128 combined starts. That's the opposite of what LSU's got. They're very veteran up front. However, at running back, Adam Randall is their projected starter at running back. Dabo Swinney said he's going to start, so I'll take his word for it. He's got 4 career carries. He's a converted wide receiver, senior, only carried the ball 4 times. So they've got some questions at tailback. Now on defense, 5 Clemson opponents last year, 5 ran for over 200 yards on Clemson. Stanford, who sucks, ran for 236. Louisville ran for 210. The Citadel ran for 288 yards on Clemson. And then South Carolina, largely Lenora Sellers, who was running. I watched that game yesterday on highlights. Lenora Sellers ran everywhere, which LSU doesn't have that gear. But they ran for 267 on South Carolina. And then you've got Texas in the bowl game. Texas ran for 292 yards. So Clemson had a bad run defense last year. In fact, it was number 99 in the nation in run defense. Last year, LSU had the worst run defense in the SEC, and LSU was in the 50s. So you're looking at a Clemson team that's really struggled to stop the run last year. And then you look at Tom Allen, who they brought in from Penn State to be the defensive coordinator. His Penn State team last year, 9th in the country in run defense. So his team was much better at it last year. You look at playmakers on the defensive front. We're going to talk about these guys a lot this week. Peter Woods, TJ Parker, and then Will Helt, who they brought over from Purdue. LSU was interested in Helt. He ended up going to Clemson. It was one of Dabo's rare portal ads. But that duo combined for 19 sacks and 38 tackles for loss last year. And that's just off defensive linemen there. 19 sacks, 38 TFLs. You look at linebacker, they've got a couple guys who are very much proven, Sammy Brown and Wayne Woodaz. Very interesting last name, Woodaz. Those two combined for 176 tackles last year, including 21 and a half TFLs. Sammy Brown was the ACC Freshman of the Year, and he was a freshman All-American. Woodaz, converted safety, had a big year for him at linebacker last year. And then you got the pass defense. Clemson was second in the ACC in pass defense last year, led by Avion Terrell and Jaden Lucas. Both of those guys are back. If Terrell sounds familiar, it should. Avion Terrell is returning. His brother, AJ, in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons, was a first-round pick out of Clemson and had a bad night in the Superdome in January of 2020. Jamar Chase, not a great assignment for him. Not a great assignment for a lot of folks. Avion will not have to deal with what his brother had to deal with in purple and gold, but those are the two guys who were back there. They're second in the ACC, and in pass defense, they were 14th in the country with 16 picks last year as a secondary. So, again, that was a very, very objective, numbers-driven segment. The nuts and bolts of it, Clemson wins a lot. They win a lot at home. Their quarterback throws for a lot of yards, takes care of it. Their offensive line is very veteran. The wide receivers are proven. The running backs are not. Defensive front, insanely productive, but they couldn't stop the run last year. Linebackers, a lot of skins on the wall. Corners, a lot of skins on the wall. That's essentially an overview of Clemson without going into opinion, which we'll get into a lot over the course of the next 4 days. I've got a lot of pieces coming up on the website. We'll certainly talk about Clemson on the show consistently, but if you want to read some of these numbers, I didn't go through all of them. If you want to read some of those numbers up on the site, LouisianaSports.net, there's a free piece right now called Statistically Speaking. It's a full look at Clemson by the numbers, and that's just, I thought, a good way to ease into the opponent. Every single Monday at LouisianaSports.net, I'm going to do a statistics piece that is not meant to be read beautifully and eloquently. It's not meant to have a lot of snazzy verbs. It's meant to give you the numbers, the nuts and bolts, and get you familiar with LSU's next opponent. This is a big one coming up on Saturday, and that was kind of my foray into game week here, statistically speaking piece that's up on the website right now. So let's take a time out. When we come back, Denton Day, Sirius XM Radio. Going to talk some national college football storylines next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. My personal favorite Genesis vehicle is the GV80. It's the midsize SUV. It's got enough size and space, but it's also not a tank like some of those SUVs that you see out there on the streets. It drives wonderfully. It's one of the top IHA top safety picks, one of the safest vehicles on the road as well. If you've got a family and you're looking for a new vehicle, check out the GV80 at Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can start at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. They've got every car they've got on the lot right there online. But if you'd like to get behind the wheel of it, you can go Airline at PQ. I highly recommend that. If you don't have time to do that, or you're a little bit across town, you're on a tight schedule, but you do have a 35, 40-minute lunch break, they can come to you. Just contact Genesis of Baton Rouge. Let them drive to you. Take a test drive around your neck of the woods. And if you'd like to buy that vehicle, you don't have to go to the dealership at that point either. They do digital delivery. They do e-contracts. All that can be handled at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find the website, GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Go see them Airline at Pico. It's GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
It's a game week. Week 0 in the rearview mirror. I watched a little bit of Farmageddon. I didn't watch every snap. I'll be candid. The crew, the 3 other members of my family went to a birthday party that I was not able to get to because of football practice on Saturday. I took a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day. Just slept for 2 hours in the bed, full nap, because no one was in my house. And that was, Farmageddon was compromised because of that. I couldn't watch every play. I didn't even see the end of it because I was dead asleep. But I think there's probably one guy that was watching it, and we're going to join him he's going to join us every single Monday here during football season for another year. Denton Day, Sirius XM College Football Overtime with us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Denton, how we doing?
Hunt, I'm fantastic, man. Probably not as fantastic as a nap in the bed on a weekend, but fantastic nonetheless.
It was very good. I honestly, this is bad. I shouldn't say this out loud. I'm not 100% sure who won that game. I think Kansas State won. Is that right?
That is incorrect. It was Iowa State.
I was watching. I knew it was low scoring. I knew it was raining. It was slippery. I knew they repainted the field at halftime. Like, there was a time where I was watching. I lost touch. But yeah, either way, did that whet your appetite for college football? Are we fully in now?
Yeah, we're definitely fully in. It also helps that I was on Iowa State in that game, where it felt like most of the world was on Kansas State, so it's kind of like the double whammy. For me, I actually had a lot of fun watching Hawaii and Stanford. I'm not going to watch a lot of Hawaii football this year, so getting the opportunity to do so, watch the quarterback play on one leg. I mean, we are as back gets, and now we get like the big boys. You know, the older kids are coming to play. The better kids are coming to play, shall we say. So this weekend's going to be a whole lot more fun.
I'm not going to bury the lead. Let's just go right ahead with LSU and Clemson. How are we feeling about that one 5 days out?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Nussmeier for rocking number 18.
Yeah.
I texted the number 18 that works at your station yesterday, so I'm thrilled about that. This one I do think is going to be a tough one for LSU, mostly because I am super high on Clemson. That's my national champion hunt, because this looks like a Clemson team that Dabo had back in like a 2018, back in like a 16-17, right? It's built really through the trenches, and you have a good quarterback in Cade Klubnik. He's not quite Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson, but you have a good quarterback that is really going to have good receivers to throw to, but the bread and butter of this Clemson offense and defense is going to be through the trenches. LSU is certainly going to have their hands full come Saturday evening.
How do you feel like the game plays out in terms of points? One of my narratives all week that I'm going to be preaching is I don't think it's not going to be a track meet in my eyes. Do you see it that way, or do you feel like these two quarterbacks are going to get it rolling?
No, I would. So I'm looking at the number right now, and I see it's 57 and a hook. I would feel pretty decent about the under. I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like we very rarely see real track meets in week number one. You're not in a rhythm yet as an offense, and it feels like the defenses always have an advantage. So if this becomes like a 24-20 game with the team, either Clemson or LSU, winning by 4 points, that feels way more likely than this becoming like a 38-35, just like thriller to the very end.
How do you feel about LSU's ability to bounce back and get into the playoff if they can't win on the road in week one?
I still feel good about it. I mean, they have the benefit of playing in the SEC. They'll be able to stack a lot of quality wins. There's some teams that have good matchups in the early portion of the season. Then you look at the rest of their schedule the rest of the way, and it's like, there's a lot of pressure on you. Notre Dame is a great example. They have two really good matchups in the first 3 weeks of their season, but if you look at the rest of their schedule, if they split those matchups or, God forbid, go 0-2, they're going to be in some trouble. So LSU has the benefit of being able to play a lot of games that are going to be viewed very highly by the committee. And I do think this is the year where a 3-loss SEC team is getting in pretty comfortably. So I think they should feel all right even if they lose, as long as they're in it. If they get boat raced, I think it's a bit more of a problem. But as long as they're in it, I think they'll be okay.
See, that's interesting. I don't know that I've heard a lot of people say that 9-3 you feel is okay. It felt like a hard 10-2 cutoff last year, and then you looked at Alabama and South Carolina and Ole Miss, and they were very much on the outside. You feel better about 9-3 this year? Why?
Yeah, I don't know that there's going to be multiple ACC teams in it this year, so I think that's a big differential. And I don't know that you'll have like an Indiana. Now, there is a team in the Big Ten that I do happen to like that is not Indiana, but has similar colors that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. But I don't know that you will have as many teams that are outside of the ACC and Big Ten that are as good. And because of that, I think you can kind of get a 3-loss team out of the SEC. I think they're the only conference that can get one in. I don't think you can get a 3-loss Big Ten team in, but I do think a 3-loss SEC team will be able to get in.
Interesting. You mentioned Notre Dame there. They're headed down to South Beach, Notre Dame, Miami on Sunday night. How do you handicap that one? Miami trying to face the number 1 draft pick, and Notre Dame trying to come back off of a national final.
Gut feel, like Notre Dame. Here's the thing. Look at the numbers. Look at the way that the public is betting it, at least early. Hate Notre Dame. I look at these things, Hunt, and I want to see where the public is. That's one of the reasons I bet Iowa State. Everyone, I was looking at a particular sports book. I don't know if you have a sponsor, so I'm not going to name the sports book. Oh, so it was BetMGM, and BetMGM gives you the percentages of who is playing what in the matchup, and 70% of the money was in the direction of Kansas State. This is a ranked-on-ranked matchup. I go the other way. Well, as of yesterday, and let me just recheck this, but as of yesterday, 90% of the money was in the direction of Notre Dame in a top 10 matchup. If 90% of the money is going one direction in a top 10 matchup, just by proxy, I have to go the other direction. So I've already played Miami. It's not going to be 90% by the time we get to Saturday. Like as the week progresses, the money will kind of balance out a little bit. But even still, it's about 73% in favor of Notre Dame. So I'm riding Miami. I don't like Carson Beck at all. I don't really like Mario Cristobal at all. It's purely from a contrarian standpoint.
I was going to ask you about Carson Beck, but you answered my question, so I don't have to do it, interestingly enough. All right, let's go to the big showdown with Texas and Ohio State from the shoe. Ohio State, what I'm looking at right now, is a 1.5-point choice. You like the Buckeyes?
I do like the Buckeyes. I think everyone's on the wagon with Arch, and I think Arch is going to be good. I think everyone really is kind of trying to find ways to exploit and to dislike Ohio State. Jim Knowles leaves, Chip Kelly leaves. The fact of the matter is Ohio State is at a very, very small fraternity of no matter what, they're going to be good every single year. They just retool, and they have a coach in Ryan Day that is going to scheme his guys to be very, very open. I think this one could end up being a track meet purely because the offensive play callers are some of the best in college football. I'm really excited to see what Jeremiah Smith is going to look like. So I do like Ohio State. It's a very short line, but I do like Ohio State, and I think this Julian Sayin kid might end up being pretty good.
Can Florida State put a scare into Alabama at the Doak down there in Tallahassee?
I mean, for the sake of Thomas Castellanos, I hope so. I mean, that man has been running his mouth all summer. Lord have mercy. I don't think so. I'm really high on Alabama this year. Year 2 of Kalen DeBoer, I think, is going to see a big step forward offensively. So good on Florida State. I don't think they stand a chance once you get to the second half.
You're in the DMV, South Carolina, and Virginia Tech from Atlanta on Sunday. South Carolina had a great year last year, and Sellers is a highlight factory. Do you like them to be as good this year, or do you think Virginia Tech could potentially start things off on a sour note there for Shane Beamer?
So I'm not in on Virginia Tech. I was big on the Hokies last year, and they took a number 2 all over my dinner plate. So I'm kind of good on that. It is going to be interesting, though, because we see from year to year, like South Carolina has not really put together 2 great years in like my lifetime. Like it feels like it's been an eternity. So they have an interesting opportunity to do so, but I'm going to be very curious. If they boat race Virginia Tech and that offense is a track meet for the entirety of the game, I think signs will point to a good direction. But if this game is close, I think that says way more about South Carolina than it does Virginia Tech. They should crush them, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they handle this Week 1 matchup.
You still got overtime duties, 11 to 1 our time?
Yep, 11 to 1 your time, Friday and Saturday. So
nice.
A lot of late weekends for your boy, but there's no place I'd rather be.
It's football, man. We're back. Appreciate you for giving us a little time. We'll talk to you next Monday. Thank you.
I appreciate it as always.
Denton Day, SiriusXM's college football overtime, as he mentioned, Friday and Saturday, late night after the games go final. LSU not on Sunday this year, actually on Saturday. So after that one, you can find Denton, or you can catch us right here on Eagle 98.1's post game as well. Lots and lots going on today. It's been a fun show. We got one more segment. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wildin'.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item. We prominently feature it in social media.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping things up here, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. It's been a fast-moving show. I hope this is a fast-moving week. I have my sincere doubts about that. I think that it may drag a little bit because of the anticipation coming for the weekend, but it's good to be back in season. Great to hear from Brian Kelly at his press conference today. For those that missed it, we're going to adjust our schedule on Mondays and Fridays moving forward. Today, you noticed that the sports, I say sports today, that's incorrect. Live at Lunch start early on Mondays so that we can get to the Brian Kelly press conference. We're still at the same time. OTB still at the same time. AFR still at the same time. But Sports Today, said it again, Live at Lunch will start a little bit early on Mondays, and then they'll start at 10 o'clock on Fridays. So we're live and local on Fridays from 7 a.m. all the way through 6:45 p.m. and then into Catholic high football. So excited to get into all that this week. It's good to be back inside some football season. I know LSU started school today, so if any students are listening on syllabus week, get to your classes. It's very important. I never missed one. My entire 5 years of school, I got to every class.
I don't believe you.
It's an amazing record.
I really don't believe you.
One of the few in history that never skipped a single day of school. It's important that you get there, kids.
Wow.
You need to be in class.
What a role model.
That's what I am. I don't know what my GPA was, but they got me out of school. That's good. Speaking of role models, children.
Yeah.
You had one of those since we last saw you. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going. I think it's going as it usually does for most people. So she'll be 2 weeks on Wednesday. This Wednesday. Yeah, the first week we were in the hospital from 2 weeks ago. We were in the hospital from Wednesday to Saturday. She had a little bit of jaundice, so she had to go under the lights for a while.
Go under the lights. Got to get some sunlight.
Yep, got some sunlight. Actually did pretty good with that. And then we got home. And it was, just all over the place. Sometimes she would sleep for a while. Sometimes she wouldn't. We're having to feed her every 3 hours. You know all these things.
I do. That first 3 months, not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just not a lot of – you love the baby. It's great that you have the baby. Baby doesn't really care about anything.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of anything.
That's pretty much how it's going.
So you got 3 months of that.
Yeah, well, hey, look, we're 2 weeks in, hon. All right, we're already through 2 weeks, so we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I think we got a laugh right around 3.5 months, 3 months and a couple of weeks. So that's what you'll look for.
Yeah, we are.
Congratulations to the Becks.
Thank you.
Do you feel like a new person? Do you feel a sense of responsibility that you've never had before?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, I don't always say new. I guess I am. I mean, I'm definitely different. Definitely, obviously, the whole sleep thing is way different. But yeah, it's had its moments so far that have been good. But yeah, the whole night thing is way different. But I'm sure we'll get used to it, eventually. So
I don't know if you get used to it.
Maybe
you just
not.
hope that it's good. And some days it is, and some nights it's just not very good. And that's just kind of part of it.
Last night, not great, unfortunately.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, but we're making it.
Glad to hear it. Let's go take it or leave it. I just dropped my pen.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Here's the deal. You're going to be drinking some beers on Saturday. I know it. I can feel it. I know you are. You're going to be watching the Tigers. It's hot outside. You might be on the grill. The next generation of light beer is Flight by Yingling. Talking 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and all that delicious beer flavor that you're looking for. If you haven't given it a try, just put some in the fridge to have ready for Saturday. It's Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Alrighty, first one here. Got some news out of Ann Arbor. Head coach Sharon Moore announced Bryce Underwood will be Michigan's starting quarterback for their opening game this season, who I think they're playing somebody not good, so it'll probably go fine.
They don't go down to Oklahoma for a week or two.
Yeah, they go to Oklahoma September. So that's next weekend. So they'll play Oklahoma next weekend, which I also don't know.
Center.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a very good game in terms of I don't know. Oklahoma's getting so much hype. It's really surprising. I don't know, they've really talked up the quarterback from Washington State.
John Mateer?
Yeah, John Mateer has been getting a lot of praise. But anyways, Bryce Underwood starting in Michigan. Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Leave it alone.
Should be riding the bench at LSU, where he committed.
Yeah, he's not.
He's really not.
He's going to be starting with the blue and yellow on.
He has a lot of money.
He does.
He has a lot of money. Thank you to Oracle for being a massive software boon that has a wife who wants to be good at football, and he doesn't care, so he just spends a lot of money on football players. Awesome.
Yep. All right.
I'm not bitter about that at all.
Definitely not. How about this, Hunt? You're not bitter about this. The Cubs, Hunt.
Woo!
Ever since I left.
Wow.
They've been on a heater. The Brewers are finally showing their true colors. 5 games back, Hunt. The Cubs are going to win the division. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that.
Leave it alone.
Five's a lot.
Got a lot of games left.
They have a lot. They don't have a lot of games.
They
left,
got a
relatively
decent amount.
speaking. There are some left. I'm excited about the way the Cubs are playing. Kyle Tucker's busted out.
He's back.
Brewers are losers, and I'm excited to see what happens the rest of the way. Off day today, though. So
yeah, it's all right. We got the Giants. The Giants are not very good.
No, they did beat the Brewers.
They did. They did beat the
We
Brewers. We did. We do like that. All right, that's it.
All right, that's it for a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Lots and lots of ground that we covered today. Talked to LSU, Saturday practice, Garrett Nussmeier at the first part of the show. You can find that online wherever you find your podcast at Hunt on LSU. Talk Saints, cut day for the Saints. You looked live, up-to-the-date tracker for all the Saints roster moves today. You can find that at LouisianaSports.net. I talked about it. You can also find our Saints coverage at Hunt on Saints. Jack Pyburn talked on Friday. I just was really interested in what he had to say, and I'm really buying what he's selling about his potential to have a monster year. So you can catch that at Hunt on LSU as well. Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Ochsner with us for Sports Health, presented by the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, was at the end of the hour. Bryce Coon from On 3, part of the Bengal Tiger, gave us his season prediction at the top of the hour. And we did some just straight numbers on Clemson. We're going to talk all about Cade Klubnik tomorrow, and I'm going to get a guest on from Clemson coming up on Wednesday. But I just talked about some straight numbers from Clemson. You can find that at 2:15, and then Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime was with us talking national storylines at 2:30. If you missed it, you can catch any of that on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. You can like, subscribe, rate, and review. Appreciate it when you do that. Helps us get our content in front of as many people as we possibly can. We are off and running on game week, people, and we're excited about it. Follow us on LouisianaSports.net as we move forward through the week. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, talking LSU, Clemson, and Saints preseason. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know